Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here. And yes, I'm all small down in the corner here because we have got the man at the moment, Mr. Lorne Lanning here, the creator of Oddworld. Mr. Lorne, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Alex.
Oh, not
it's
at all,
nice
not
to
at all.
finally be on Nintendo.
Well, you know, you've got to, it's the place to be, really. It really is. But anyway,
well, you know, I've always believed that, and you know, one of my heroes is Miyamoto.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And the properties of a Nintendo, in some ways, you know, helped shape Oddworld from the very beginning. So
well,
it just took us a little while. What is it? 20 years now to actually get here. So,
but yes,
thanks for having us on.
No, not at all, not at all. And you were going to tell us a little bit, just a little bit, about the new Oddworld New and Tasty that is coming to Wii U.
Well, you know, it took us long enough to get there. So
well, I wasn't going to be the one to bring it up.
Yeah, it really did, and it was really painful. And I have to say, you know, at the end of the day, what we did was we bet on the audience more than we bet on the potential sales. Let me put it that way. In terms of, we said we were going to have a Wii U build. It wound up being so much harder than we expected. Part of it was our own learning curve with Unity. Part of it was, you know, we made some mistakes early on that didn't necessarily make porting easy. But we figured out the most optimized version we had running with a lot of lessons was the PS3 version. And so we went from the PS3 version to the Wii U. And we would have been out a lot sooner, but it had to be good. And it had to play good. And it had to look good. And so we knew that, you know, we had already sort of missed certain windows when you should release simultaneously, things like that. But we also knew that if we're going to finally have a good product on Nintendo, and there was a couple products that were licensed that wound up on the Game Boy that I basically don't talk about, but, but you know, that was, we had partners and games were licensed, and, you know, that's life. But it's the first time we really put a sincere effort into getting a good quality product on a Nintendo home console. And really, we probably should have canceled the project earlier. if you were doing a cost run analysis, you would have said, "Look, it just doesn't make sense. Why are you doing this?" But we look at it and we go, "This is still a hardcore fan base," and Nintendo's going through a lot of changes, and it's hard to tell exactly where it's going. But this core audience that still hangs on is one that's very feverish. You know, these are some of the guys you'll meet, and they'll have Nintendo tattoos. And so,
yeah, I know a couple of them.
Yeah, in different countries. You know, I've met a lot of them. And so we saw that as an opportunity to really, if we can make a good impression with the Nintendo base, then, you know, audience, then with whatever Nintendo's got coming in the future, then at least we'll have a better foothold. People will be more familiar with our product if we really treat it with respect, give the audience something that is rare on the platform. Then that was our goals, and you know, hopefully we've delivered on that. And I think the reception will be pretty good. That's my guess, but hopefully, you know, hopefully that proves true.
Well, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. Not many bells and whistles to sell after that point, is there?
Well, there's always DLC, isn't there? Extra shiny, extra. You could be, you know, new and tasty, extra shiny.
Yeah, new and tasty.
You can have that one for free. It's fine.
Yeah, and that's something we've always been, you know, slightly behind the curve on too. Is, you know, learning how to microtransaction, learning how to do DLCs that are.
Oh, don't do microtransactions. Just don't do. Just.
Oh, I know.
That way, madness lies. Eventually,
it's sad. I mean, we haven't gone there. I'm a total amateur in even thinking that way. But you know, eventually, it's just how are you going to compete with free? But that's a whole nother. You know, when you see games being built that have budgets of $50 million and they're going to be free, that are going to have budgets of $100 million and they're going to be free. Do you have Poltergeist there?
No, I'm afraid one of my lights has just gone.
Oh, that just happens when I'm on the line.
That just happens, yeah. No, I've still got one working, so I'm hoping that will last for the rest of the interview.
There you go. Oh, you got one. So it actually went out on you. Nice.
Yeah, no, it's actually gone. So,
well, wait till we get to those later questions, man. They're all going out.
Anyway, right. I have to admit something. I've already told Mr. Lanning this. I have never played an Oddworld game. I know.
I know.
It's terrible.
I'm trying to get over that.
Well, it's all about the shirt. The shirt says it all. It's Nintendo.
That's
Nintendo.
Right. Well, see, this is what I'm talking about. Right?
This is why you're bringing it, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. And like I was saying, you know, Miyamoto's games was a huge influence on me, and particularly Mario. And a lot of the reason was because he was all about controls first, and we were doing something that was sort of outside of that spectrum, which is platforming gaming with trying to capture realistic animations, you know, really get a sense of a living character, has a tendency to be sluggish if it's going to look right. And so there's this in my opinion, in good high quality platforming game. Eco was a great example. You know, that you there it tends to be a little more sluggishness. And when I'm speaking to realistically animated, you know, so you go back to Flashback, you go back to Out of This World, you go back to Prince of Persia, they were going for something different than Mario was going for, or Donkey Kong was going for. And what we were trying to do is say, well, how do we retain a lot of the sort of beauty and believability that takes place in a more articulately crafted animation character, and yet try to capture what Miyamoto has on the instantaneous controller response. So I'm not claiming we got to there, but I think we blended those worlds better. What Abe does in the game, which is largely about rescuing other characters, it's largely about saving other slaves that work in a meat processing plant that find out their retirement plan's a lie and they're all going to wind up chop suey, is in that case, how do we take just what's important in a story character? Abe, his shamanistic heritage, he used to be a slave laborer. There's something supernatural about him. He doesn't understand it himself, but he starts to use these abilities. He's really about learning about, you know, he finds the wisdom in the ancient cultures that have been harvested and destroyed to basically free his people today. But that turned into mechanics of rescuing Dawkins, game speak, building more emotional connections between characters. I kind of feel that in games like Pikmin too. You know.
Just the word Pikmin just fills me with joy. I love it.
Yeah. I thought you were having a negative reaction. I was like, what?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. But,
I mean, that would be the end of the interview, wouldn't it?
Exactly. So that's it. But, you know, the charm is really there, right? Like there's something really charming about it. And if you remember back to when Donkey Kong and Mario 3D first started getting marketed, all of a sudden it was actually the 3D renderings of those characters was some of the first we saw in game universes, like promoted and at GameStop and at the retail stores and on the posters. Everything was like the consistency of those characters, how they looked in the game, how they looked in promotionals. We were basically modeling a lot after what I saw Nintendo doing right. And clearly Nintendo had brought back the gaming industry.
Well, I have to say, from what I've seen, and I have had a very good look at New and Tasty, and I have to say, it really does look fantastic. That fluidity that you were talking about, you've got it absolutely spot on. I can't speak for the controls because I haven't played it, but I'm sure they're more than adequate.
Well, I hope you're right, and you know, we did our best, but you know, people feel pretty good about it. I admit, you know, we had some choices to make at different times, you know, getting the level to run, or what's the compromises. And at times when things get really busy, there is some lag. We've locked it at 720p HD, and we capped it at 30 frames per second. But there's a couple times when we just don't sustain 35 frames per second. I find those moments really disappointing. But at the end of the day, you know, you got to ship it, you got to get it out. And Abe is very much the mechanics that he uses in the game. Like I was saying, GameSpeak. GameSpeak was about, if we're going to make characters that we care about enough to rescue, then we need to have more emotive personality coming from them in the screen. And how much better if we can have characters actually talk to one another. And that emerged out of, and I say this in a very superficial sense, but it was kind of like, how do we replace a punch with a word? You know, so normally you might walk up and hit a character. That's often, you know, the action button. But what if we said hello? You know, so you go up and they go hello, and they respond hello, and you can give them a command, follow me, and they respond okay, and then, you know, so hello, follow me, okay, and then they like start doing it. The girls would just like, oh, I love that guy, and then you get that guy killed. It's just like, what are you doing? You know, like, you just got killed. That guy, he's really nice. He's following you. He's listening to your direction. And so what we did was we were trying to find ways to enhance charm factor so that you, and I don't mean in a hokey way, I mean in a, you know, I like those guys kind of way, you know, the way we like puppies, and then put them in an extremely hostile environment. That is just, you know, brutal in its possibilities.
That was quite a turn there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Going from puppies to a hostile environment.
It's comedy, right? Like, you know, comedy. Groucho Marx. You know, comedy's when tragedy is when I get a hangnail. Comedy is when you fall in a manhole and die, right? It's like that's. But a lot of this was. It was inspired by the Hanna-Barbera, you know, the Looney Tunes, you know, Wile E. Coyote, like that type of exaggerated simplicity. Ideally, back to the days before they were using any words. You know, you had Tom and Jerry before. I don't know, I might be dating myself, but these were cartoons from Hanna-Barbera and stuff. And they were hilarious, and they were all like slapstick, you know, kind of evolved out of the old black and white comedies of the in early eras of film. And so that slapstick, exaggerated motion, all that seemed to lend itself towards games, more emotive characters. And a more dangerous a situation we could put those characters into, then maybe we could find ways to increase tension. And that was really what a lot of that was about. So then how do we marry the ideas of, you know, rescuing, you know, aggression is not the goal, where empathy is the goal. And then along the way, it gets some aggressive possibilities, but we want to leave more to the user. So anyway, I'm ranting on how we came to the idea and why Nintendo and how Miyamoto games influenced it from the beginning.
Well, that's why you're here, so you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing with New and Tasty is that whilst it is the original Abe's Odyssey, it's not using, as far as I know, any of the original code. It's been completely rebuilt, hasn't it?
Yeah. So you know,
that's quite a feat.
Well, it's a lot of it is, and thank you. And it wasn't cheap, and we paid for it ourselves, which was a big risk. You know, you're a hit-driven business. We're going to put it all on red. You know, which is basically what we did, and but we won. And but the idea was this: the game was built. It released in 1997, the original game, but it was operating on some principles that I think were kind of new to gaming, evolutionary, not revolutionary, but evolutionary. And because I came from film, and I was thinking more like a filmmaker so I was thinking like a filmmaker who loved playing games. And I wanted to see more of character development, plot, story, epic designs, epic worlds. I wanted to see more of that in games. And so Oddworld was my opportunity to start doing that. And, you know, it wasn't easy. I mean, if you knew how hard games were, you know, we were having technical difficulties just getting your capture system up and running today. You know, and games are just
you don't say that to the audience. As far as they know, it's all magic and spider webs.
Yeah, it's all just perfect. You know, just like those games are being made. It was, what do they say about sausages? You know, you just don't want to see how they're made.
One last question before we wrap things up.
Yes, sir.
Because you've sort of covered all of the questions I had just in the sort of first sentence that you said.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, by all means, we're here to listen to you, not listen to me. Anyway, I was just going to bring up the suggestion. Have you ever considered perhaps producing an Abe amiibo?
You know, the talk came up recently, and I should say that that's where it's at right now. And any further commitment I make, I know it's going to either get me in trouble with the audience or my own team. And rarely do I, you know, evade those things unscathed. So I just gotta say that's where it's at. And the idea is, why not? I mean, really, like you look at it, you go, why not? And so we've got a bigger fish to fry at the moment, which is, you know, we're launching into production on the next game. And so, and we want to try and figure out exactly where's Nintendo going to be next round. You know, and that's a big, you know, it's a big question in my mind for a lot of different reasons. There's obvious business, but then there's creative, like what is going to happen with it that we could do as designers, and that's something I'm always interested in, you know. But
well, that's excellent to hear. That's vague enough, but still, you know, there's a tantalizing promise at the end of there, isn't there? But that's excellent.
I would like to, and I don't want to get in trouble at the moment, so I'll leave it there. Yeah.
Excellent. Lorne Lanning, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, a tremendous honour to be able to speak to you. And of course, to you, the lovely audience, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you try and grind down that subscribe button to a new and tasty paste. And be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye. That was excellent.
All right. Hey, thank you, Alex.
No, thank you, thank you. You made it. You made for a very, very easy interview.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. I never heard that dating, so at least I'm doing it in interviews. Where's your microphone?
It's a lav mic down here.
Oh,
it's on my shirt.
Yeah.
It's supposed to go up here,
my Sennheiser #1 gaming headphone system is not cutting it. You're saying?
Oh no, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a lovely headset, but
I can't get a driver for the Mac.
It's coming through the whole, it's coming through the whole internet business.
Anyway, what day is it? They gave me a cheat list of all the answers, and the release date is not on it.